Shall we
Yeah.
start? Okay.
Yes.
So, hello everyone, and a very warm welcome for to attending today's webinar on interior styling. I am Bhumika, student at JS Institute of Design. So, JS Institute of Design is a design school in the heart of Delhi, Lajpat Nagar, and they have a vision, to bridge the gap of design education and design industry's requirements. JSID's founder, Mrs. Dakshita Khandelwal from Jagdish Store, with legacy of over 50 years plus in retailing high-end premium furnishings, and Dr. Parmat Sinha, who has set us many colleges for higher education like Ashoka University and ISB. JS Institute of Design is a design school offering various UG and PG programs in design. So they're as follows. We have game art and design, digital product design, and visual communication and animation. Also, JSID offer PG program in interior design and advertising design and digital communication. So today's webinar on interior styling will help you to understand the basics of interior styling, its importance, and why designers need to know styling trends. To talk about this, we have with us our professor Namita Ahluwalia. She is a practicing designer and an educator for more than 18 years. She has been full-time and visiting faculty in many colleges across Delhi and NCR like APJ School of Design, GEMS, JSJD Institute and IALM University. Her area of expertise in teaching ranges from foundational orthographic drawings, drafting to AutoCAD software and design projects. So, ma'am, can I please request you to take this session? And also, if you have any questions or doubts, so you can everyone can add the doubts in the chat box, and ma'am can take them during or after the session. So, ma'am, you can take the stage from here.
Thank you so much, Bhumika, for this lovely introduction. Really appreciable.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So I think I've been introduced already very well. So a very warm welcome and good evening, everyone. So let's begin and start learning about interior styling. So as Rizwana has already mentioned that she is excited to learn today's session, and I'm sure that I'm equally excited, Rizwana, to give you at least an introduction to what styling is and can guide you to even, if you want to look ahead your future in this field, so you can very well look into it after today's session.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'll be really grateful.
Yeah. So first of all, before we begin to know and to look into styles, let's understand what is interior styling and who is an interior stylist. So basically, interior styling is done by a consultant or a professional, that can be an interior stylist or an interior designer. So their main aim is to dress a room. Now, when we say dress a room, actually, when we designers work, there is a process. Like for example, interior designers initially they work on the renovation projects. So they take up the entire project, they do the surface finishes initially, and while they reaches to the stage where they are doing the handover to the client, then they have to actually do a lot of makeup inside the space that they have already designed. Makeup, as in this case, would be adding on a lot of accessories, doing the final finishes in the furnishings, like adding on the vases, adding on some statues, the rugs, the cushion throws here and there, so that the space now looks much more trendy and also looks quite beautiful but also livable. And definitely all the accessories that now you're going to add should of course be functional but not an obstacle, because when our interior designer is designing, their main concern is also about the functionality and also looking at the issues of accessibilities and safety issues, so they should not be compromised. And also finally, the interior stylist have to do justice to homeowners taste, that how they want their space to look like. So all the accessories that needs to come should definitely be first of all according to the design and then also according to the homeowner's taste. So as an interior designer, one can also uh, take on a profession of a full-time interior stylist. Now the full-time interior stylist, they predominantly works with some magazines or with some companies, and then they can actually do a lot of editorial writing. They can also participate during the photo shoots of any projects that a designer wants to go ahead, so that they can actually make the photo shoot look beautiful. You need to add on a lot of accessories while photo shoot is happening, which may not be there permanently. So all the final setup is designed by the interior stylist. Okay, so now even before we start looking into different designs or styles which are existing in the industry right now, let's first understand the basics. What are the basic elements of design? And frankly, most of these elements are relevant to any design. So these elements are the most fundamental foundations for the design language as well. So the first element is element of line. So now you have a visual here. So you can see that within the space there are lot of textures, lot of light, colors, and also forms and lines which are actually present here, but we as a layman just don't see them at the first glance. So let me now start explaining you how do line comes in place and how it is a very important tool for designer, followed by of course the other elements. So the first element of line, if you see the height of the doors here, if you see the height of the partition, so they are all adding as the vertical lines in this project. Now these vertical lines are actually depicting the height of this room. Whereas the other type of lines, if I can add the horizontal lines. So here this photo frames, the furnitures, all the rugs, etc. They are adding lot of vertical, not vertical, I mean the horizontal lines, and adding on the space and the width to this entire space. Light, the form, the second element. So here you can see lot of forms. Just a second, guys. Yeah. So here you can see a lot of forms. Now these forms are the rectangle forms in the picture, on the furniture, on the table, in fact the door. So the rectangle forms or the geometrical forms, they add on to lot of stability in any space. They give a very formal appearance, whereas as soon as you add some circular forms, as you can see in the side table, you can see the lamps. So they have bit of circular forms, and also there are certain patterns which are in circular forms. Also the flower vase. So these circular elements, they actually help the space get more relaxed. They add little informal look and appeal to a space. So forms are very important. So as a designer, if we want a very formal looking space, we will try and restrict ourselves into more squares and rectangles. And if we want a flowy, a movemental space, the forms can be more on circle and organic forms. Then the light. Of course, light actually sets a mood inside any room. Always as a designer, our main aim is to first of all bring a lot of natural light in. But in absence of natural light, we have of course the artificial light, which can be white, which can be yellow as well. So warm white, warm yellow lights, they, so in this space you can see the light is actually warm yellow. So this warm yellow light is bringing a lot of relaxation, and environment where you just feel like coming and feel more relaxed. Had this been a lot of white light, suddenly the energies of the space would change into something which is more functional, where you would not want to relax but do some more work. So light plays important role in that sense to create a mood for any design. Now, when we talk about color, so frankly, color is the most predominant element when you enter a space. Color is the first thing that is visible to you. So, when I showed you this picture, I'm sure the first thing that you would have seen are the colors, probably the backdrop color, which are very deep maroons, or probably these mustards, deep mustards, or orange, or the colors which are more visible and brighter. Now, colors again, they help you to get very close to the environment and to the ambience you are looking at to create. Each color also have its own psychology. Many styles are also related to some or other color, which we will talk in the other slides as well. So here the color combination is actually making the space appear very formal, very elegant and royal. Just now imagine that the colors are now transformed from deep red to pastel pinks, from these mustards to, let's say, blues. So suddenly, the style of the room and the look and the feel of the room would suddenly change into very softer tones, very lively tones rather than this formal look. So that's how it is very important to choose the correct colors to give the exact style you want to put in the room. Now, if we talk about textures, so here you can see some textures, but textures are actually something that you feel. We can have rough textures or we can have smooth textures. To give a very formal look, one always go for smooth and shiny textures, which is what we can see maximum happening in this space. As you can see, the furniture is finished in metal and it is very shiny metal. The tabletop, it is shining, right? So it is all very smooth texture and very shiny texture. The only texture that you can see, which you can actually feel, would be the rug here. So the rug texture may be coarse, but this coarseness will also add on to the softness of this place. Now the pattern. Pattern is again a visual texture or a visual prints that are created intentionally so that our eyes rest onto some space, and also that adds a lot of visual interest into any place. So right now I can see some pattern in the jali work which is very geometrical. So this is giving a very formal look in contrast to this circular geometrical pattern which is also giving a formal look, but still it is little interesting because circles always add that sense of interest and little casual attitude than this formal line pattern that you see here. Also there are more patterns, so all the patterns, the textures, the colors, form, light, they all are part of this piece that you see here as a complete room. And this room actually, so when we say the final element of space, now this room is one space where, if you can see, the ceiling, the walls and the floor, they are just acting as a blank canvas or as a negative space where the paintings, the chandeliers and the furniture pieces along with the accessories are actually the positive space. Because of this background colors, all the furniture pieces are standing out. I can see some chats also coming up. Should I just hold on for a second and see the chat?
Yes, ma'am. We have a question from Rizwana Parveen, and
Okay.
she's asking that can interior designing skill also be helpful in graphic and artworks? So that's the question.
Okay. So yes, Rizwana, of course, any skill which is a design skill. So the elements of design, so they are actually very similar to the elements of graphic design or the elements that you will learn if you are pursuing any art forms. So the elements remain the same, but the usage may be in a different form. So, and then we can take this question also in the end and we can look and elaborating into this question. Okay. Yeah. Now, I want this session also to be little interactive, not only me talking, but of course, if you want, you can write some answers in the chat box or you can unmute yourself to have some conversations with me. My question to you all is, after understanding the elements from the previous slide, can you all guess and write in the chat box if that's okay? What are the elements that are styled in this room? So the elements that we studied was line, then the second was form, then it was color, light, texture, pattern, and space. Whatever that you can see, identify, which is coming to your mind, just type it in the chat box.
Yes, I see we have few answers here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, we can see, Disha, you are correct that this image has a lot of colors. Of course, the negative space is very much evident against this positive furniture pieces and the rug. So, Gunica space, line, form, color, very important. Structure. So, yes, structure as in the combination of all the elements that you see here, how they are brought together are forming this room. Then I will ask you, so Nidhi, in fact, your answer is also correct. And then there are a lot many other answers as well. Disha, light, color. So of course, now if you look closely, you will finally find all the seven elements present in the space. As in every space that you utilize, even on daily basis, you will experience all the elements present there. So this space actually, if I can elaborate now, is of course a studio, which is a very casual sitting studio, where you can see the line element, which are the vertical lines which are adding to the height of this room. Of course, we can see the horizontal breaks within this vertical line and also the sofa here or maybe the rug. This is adding to the horizontal lines, which is also making the space look more proportionate so that the space is given not only the proportion of height but also the width as well. Second, into the form, as you all have mentioned, form. We can see some very interesting forms here, different from the basic rectangle and circles. So we can see a semicircular form in the artwork on the wall. We can see some line forms, patterns, or the form in a circular shape over this lampshade, which is hung from the ceiling and also standing on the floor. We can see some triangular forms which are there in the base of the table and also in the chair, as well as we can see some organic forms in form of furnitures. So there are many different forms, but the beautifying thing in this picture is that if we have many forms, they are all tied together, all are balanced, unified, either with the similar shapes, either with the similar lines, or with the similar colors. And even if you can see, there is a repetition of same patterns also. So if you have line pattern or you have a similar one line pattern on the cushion and then the line pattern is continued on the upholstery of the sofas as well. There is a olive green color. So this color is repeated in some intensities on the wall and all on the furniture, in the accessories. So now, in this space, you can see how the elements are used here, but both the spaces. I go back to the previous space. This space, you can see all the elements, but this space is giving you a very, very formal, royal, rich, I can say a vintage look and feel. Whereas if you see this one, this is giving you very casual, very chill out kind of a look and feel. So of course, we have to use the elements in a way that these all elements are balanced, not any one element taking the entire show, but everything is balanced in a way that they are all unifying together to create the space look interesting yet usable. Okay, let's move on to this page now. Now, my question will be different question here, and I would again want all of you to come and write in the chat box. So, if you see this picture, first of all, try and look into this picture at least for 5 seconds and see, do you find all the elements in place? Just write yes or no in the chat box. Do you see line? Do you see shape, light, color, texture, form, and the space? So of course, I can see yes coming in. So some people might be taking time to find it out, but of course it is there. Now, my main question for this space would be, what do you think that this house, or where do you think this house is situated? Do you think this house is there in a region like Delhi? Seaside? Okay, so I've got one answer from Nidhi. Seaside. Anybody else? Do you think this can be a hilly region? Somewhere winter region. Okay, that's good. Colder places. Yes. It's like a beach or a hill. So, okay. Now, my question, I'll ask you one further question to this. Can anybody look and then identify style? What is the main style of this image, or what is the style that this house is having? Okay, so I've got one answer. Let's see. So modern, formal, domestic, a lively, cozy, and more space in small space. Okay. So now the questions that I just asked you all. Thank you, Rizwana, Disha, Sparsh, and Nidhi, and everybody else who have been actively participating. Srishti. So yeah, Ankit, minimalist, minimalist. Okay. So there are two answers who are saying minimalist. All right, let me elaborate on this. So this house, what I feel as a designer is, of course, is from a winter region or a space where there's a lot of winters. I'll tell you the reasons also why it is. First of all, if you see, there is absence of window treatment. That means that the owner of this house would want a lot of sunlight whenever there is an opportunity of sunlight to come inside the space, and also to entrap a lot of natural light in the space. Secondly, I can see a pot of coffee or a tea and also a burning fireplace. That means that this space is definitely in a colder region, because that's why you would want to sip into hot coffee or tea and also have a fireplace there. Thirdly, there are rugs throat. So we can see one rug which is thrown just below the dining space where one would be sitting to relax and have more time spent on, and also around the living space. These rugs, they look very warm, like as if, cushioned and warm rugs. So of course that adds on to the element that it is coming from a winter region. Also, you can see the wooden floors here. Now, use of lot of browns, neutral tones, and wood in the furnitures, also the similar shades in the upholstery and everywhere else. This is definitely a Scandinavian style. So, I'm introducing you with the first style of the day, that is the Scandinavian style. Does any of you know what is a Scandinavian style, or which part of the world does the Scandinavian style belongs to? Europe, yes. You are correct, Tejal. So, Scandinavian is a style. So, Scandinavia is basically, we call Scandinavian countries, and it is five Nordic countries, which is your Poland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Ireland. So, these five countries together form the Scandinavian region, and this kind of interior style is there in Scandinavia. So I hope you found this interesting. So many of you may really like this kind of a style, which is very neat, clean lines, absence of lot of window treatments, minimalist in its form and look, wooden flooring, wood everywhere, using achromatic schemes, not adding on too many colors. Very sober, simple, and very functional style it is. Okay. So when I've taken this name of Scandinavian style, and as now you all are aware, so why do we need to name certain interior styles? Let's try and understand that. So if you have names of certain styles, it helps the designer as well as clients by, so if they take a name, let's say Scandinavian style, so then they can show a picture. A designer can actually talk around a picture and describe and discuss the different looks that the client can look, and then start identifying their taste, the aesthetics that the client is looking for to adopt in their homes or in their spaces. So if designer already knows, okay, one is a Scandinavian style, one is a Moroccan style, one is a Oriental style, we know what is Art Nouveau, Art Deco, We know what are the other styles. So if you have your own glossary of all the styles already ready with you, you can actually start identifying the taste of your client, and based on those discussions, you can then look into forming an entire design solution for your client. So this is where the interior styles are very important to know and to have conversations around. So, different styles. Now, how do we get the names, or what do these styles evoke to us? So, these styles are named based on the eras they come from. So, there are certain styles which come from the historical eras. Like we have a classical style, then we have arts and crafts style, we have art nouveau, so on and so forth. Then some styles may be related to the cultures they come from or the places where they are belonging to. Like, for example, we saw in the picture just before this, we saw that it was a Scandinavian style. We can also call some styles as a Asian styles, so on and so forth. Also, some styles are also named after the description of the color palettes. Maybe when we say we are looking for green bliss, so that means I'm talking about an interior which should have a lot of natural elements such as plants and maybe some kind of a green colors, or maybe the atmosphere they're belonging to over all the finishes. So this is how the interior styles are named, and then we should now start identifying different styles and then start using those correct terminologies when it comes to describing our main focus concept of any project. Okay, so now from here on, I will be discussing some styles which are there. Let me just also check in the meanwhile the chat box if there are some others. So royal style also. Yes, so of course royal style is also one of the styles. But when we say Rizwana royal style, actually there is no royal style, but royal is a terminology that is used to describe many styles. So right now, the picture that you see here on my screen, this is a classical style. So when I say classical style, it simply means that classical. Okay, let me just elaborate a little bit on what is a classical style. So classical style comes from the very old eras, the classical eras, as we can say so. So the classical eras can be classical, Gothic, eras of our history, which
Ma'am, your voice is not coming properly.
okay, is it breaking a lot? I think my internet just had.
Uh, yeah, just repeat what you said. It
Okay,
wasn't clear. Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Bhumika, for prompting. Guys, is it clear now? Bhumika, is it clear now?
Yeah, much better, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So classical style comes from the classical eras. Right now, what you see here is a very modern adaptation of a typical classical style, and this trend is very much in vogue today. Now, what are the main features of classical era? How can we convert any existing space into classical space? So, classical requires first of all that the entire furnishing of the homes should be based on very classy, very valuable finish of the material. As you can see here, the floors, these are marble floors. They are not done in tiles, they are not done in wood. So the floor is done in stone, which is a very shiny, and of course, the finishes should be very luxe, shining finishes. Secondly, there has to be a good sense of proportion, which means that the classical eras are always dependent on the grandeur of the space, how grand a space can look like. So, here everything is almost going above the normal height where the room generally ends in. So, all the panelings are beyond our regular 7 feet, are going till 8.5 feet here. So this is again very important. Also, classical styles have a lot of balance. They believe in proper balance, means there has to be a kind of sense of symmetry, maybe little asymmetrical, but try to create a symmetry. Also, they use color palettes which can be neutral to soft, but of course, there can be some very nice accents blues and greens and reds to accentuate your space. I'm so sorry, I'll go back. Yeah. There are a lot of architectural details. So as you can see here on the ceiling, so you can see the molding running over this entire belt. Also, these architrave layers along with the doors also have the panelings. You can see a lot of layering being done. So one of a very important element of classical style is multiple patterns and multiple layers. Layers means you have a barren wall, then you cover the wall with one material, which is again shiny lux, then you recover it with the second material, then the third, fourth. So as many layers as possible as you can create will add on to the depth into the style. So this is a very classical, you can feel in a very modern attempt. And of course the classical chandeliers always bring the uniqueness into the space. Let me see what is all you're writing in the chat box. So when you say that places which are built very heavily on wood surfaces and with cement, so they are actually not classical, but they may be coming from some classical era, which is actually a Tudor era. That is not a finished classical era. So we will be going ahead with lot of other eras, and maybe what you are writing, you'll be able to see it around different spaces.
Ma'am, we have few more questions. Can you just please look at it? Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay? So first we wrap up this entire presentation because, and then in the end we can answer these questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay.
I think I just saw the question. So of course, classical design. So we don't have to take the real classical elements as it is from the past and use them in today's spaces, because then the relevance will be lost. Now we have smaller spaces, but we want to adapt that classical element from the past. So we have to actually find out how we can use those elements in today's time where they don't become too overpowering for today's taste, yet become livable. We don't want to live in museums, right? We want to live in spaces which are classy, which can be related to certain eras or styles, but yet become functional, modern, and of course contemporary to today's time. If I think if that is helpful for one of the questions here. Okay. Um, so this is another style, Moroccan style. Quickly, guys, can you tell me which country style do you think the style belongs to? I'm waiting for you to type in the chat box that if you can identify. Okay, UAE, Arabia, Mutual. So, okay. All right. So I don't see other answers coming in. So basically, Morocco is a country in Northern Africa, guys. Now, the culture of Morocco is, of course, so the architecture actually that the Morocco country follows is Moorish architecture. So I'll repeat myself. It's a Moorish architecture, and this architecture is followed in North America and also actually in West, Middle Eastern Europe and Middle East Asia. So all the places that you see, probably Turkey, probably of course UAE and the Middle Eastern countries. So there you will find Moroccan style. So this is a very interesting style, and also as soon as you saw, so of course many of you could identify the style because of the exposure. But yes, this is again one of a style which you can actually have it in your spaces, or maybe a small Moroccan corner you can create in your spaces just by adding few elements. Like the most easy elements that you can find anywhere would be these hanging chandeliers. So the hanging lights, which are very interestingly shaped with a lot of patterns and textures. Also, if you can look at creating an arc, so that can give you a definite Moroccan look and feel. Also, if you can see, this kind of a tile work or the geometrical patterns in the colors of blues and whites, they actually give you a instant look and feel that you come from that era. So of course this entire era is very much influenced by Arabic styles. So the colors may not remain the original Moorish architectural colors, but also the color palette may be very different from the prevalent blues and whites. That can be in deeper tones, yet you can have the same kind of a patterns there. So the mosaic tiles, the geometrical patterns can come, and also in every Moorish architecture or Moroccan style, you will see a lot of Persian rugs. So here the Persian rugs will also have a similar geometrical patterns running throughout. Rich upholstery is very important. Stylish luxe furniture pieces, and of course, small accessories like these ones. As you can see, they are teapots, which are definitely styled in a way, or maybe a hookah placed here and there. That these are all very attractive feature. They're vases that you can add to turn the space into a Moroccan style space. Okay, let's move on to the next. This is Art Nouveau. So Art Nouveau style, this style is actually coming from late 19th century to early 20th century, and this style is influenced by nature. When I say nature, the influences comes from plants, insects, wildlife, and also they feature a lot of floral patterns, as you can see here. So they have, so Art Nouveau is a style when people in Europe and America were really, got bored with industrialization. When everything was too replica of each other, then the Art Nouveau style came in vogue, where they wanted each piece to be very stylized to look like piece of art, and then lot of asymmetry was introduced so that the pieces don't become identical to each other, yet there is a cohesiveness and a balance is created. Now, this is a very important piece, this lamp. This lamp is known as Tiffany lamps, which is done with the stained glass window, I mean, the stained glass work, or these pieces are all different pieces of glasses put together. And these Tiffany lamps were um, only made during that era, and even now if you want to buy these lamps, they will be pretty expensive, but these are what that Art Nouveau styles really highlights or belong to. These kind of lamps, maybe the curves, the use of metals, and of course you can see the wood here. So this wood is pretty stained wood. You can also see some features which are pretty identical, but they used to have a lot of asymmetrical patterns going all around the place in Art Nouveau. So Art Nouveau style, if you have traveled to European countries, you will still find that lot of places that you visit there. So you will find the style, and of course, people nowadays want to have the references of the styles which were very popular during certain eras back in the fashion, and then you can look into creating your spaces in these styles. Okay, moving on, our next style is Art Deco style. So, Art Deco style is a very popular 20th century aesthetic movement. And so, if you see this picture, what are the things which are coming into your mind? Come on, let's have some interaction again in the chat box. Do you think this is very overpowering? Do you think this is opulent, this is extravagant, or is this your taste? Is it subtle? Like, I just want to know your reaction on this. Okay, looks royal, royal luxury, bar ma'am, honestly, looks like casino. Okay, so you think, yes, so Art Deco is very luxurious in its look and feel. It gives you very royal feeling. So basically, this Art Deco style, people also actually use words like it is a style that mimic a jewelry. So they wanted to create this style which actually look as exclusive as a piece of jewelry. And then if you see the finishes, all the elements are actually geometrical, yet you can see some curves also here, but lot of geometrical patterns with use of lot of golds, lot of lacquer finishes, lot of fine finishes. Yes, does somebody want to talk here? I can see somebody in also.
Yes, actually, ma'am, it's a request from Ghansham Arya so that you can talk in Hindi as well in between. So he just wrote
Okay.
that in chat box. Yeah.
Okay. So this style has polished shiny chrome fixtures. ये style ऐसा है which actually make you go back to a very royally, जैसे आप किसी king या queen के घर में बैठे हो, यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे मेटल है, मेटल के ऊपर गोल्ड का काम से फिनिश कर रखा है। तो जितना भी सर्फेसेस है आपको बहुत शाइनिंग मिलेगा, बहुत ही पॉलिश्ड मिलेगा, एंड दिस इज व्हाट आर्ट डेको स्टाइल लुक्स लाइक। नाउ इन टूडेज कॉन्टेक्स्ट, अगर आपको आर्ट डेको स्टाइल को अपने घर पे लाना है या अपनी स्पेसेस को डिजाइन करना है, तो ऑफ कोर्स आप इतना ग्लॉसी नहीं लेंगे, बट यू कैन लुक इनटू प्रोबेबली गेटिंग सम फर्नीचर पीसेस ऑफ आर्ट डेको स्टाइल। यू कैन गेटिंग मे बी अ कंसोल इन आर्ट डेको स्टाइल, जिसके ऊपर आपने कोई वासेस या कोई आपने एलिमेंट्स रखे हुए हैं विच कम फ्रॉम दैट एरा। आप ऑफ कोर्स एक विंडो ट्रीटमेंट्स को उस स्टाइल में कर सकते हैं कि वो बहुत शाइनी ग्लॉसी लगे, एंड देन यू कैन हैव look to have a similar finishes and color combination which will bring you to the reminiscence of the art deco styles. Okay, let's see the other style. So all of you can relate to this style. Do you all when you look at this picture, do you recognize what style is this? आप ये बता सकते हैं कौन सा स्टाइल है? Chinese, okay. Japanese, yes. So this is, as you can read in the name also, it is Oriental style. So Oriental style is a broader term. We can always say or replace this term with Asian style. So this actually belongs to Chinese, Vietnam, Japanese, maybe Thailand. All this area can all be brought together and have this kind of a look and feel. Oriental style, as we are calling it here. So let's see what are the features. So frankly, this Oriental style is a very functional style. Functional means that these people belong in a simple way of life. They feel like not having lot of opulence in the furniture and elements, but bring it to a very simple forms. चीजें जितनी जरूरी हैं उतनी रखो, don't overdo is what Oriental style is all about, but yet they want to bring देयर कल्चर ऑल्सो इन दिस। उनके जो कल्चर में जैसे उनके जो स्क्रीन स्टाइल है या ड्रैगन मोटिव है या जो उनका अपना मटेरियल्स हैं, जैसे वुड हो गया, बैम्बू हो गया, या फिर उन पेपर से जो वो लैंटर्न्स बनाते हैं, या लाफिंग बुद्धा के स्टैच्यूज हो गए, तो एनीथिंग जो उनके कल्चर से बिलोंग करता है या उनके रीजन से बिलोंग करता है या उनके रिलीजियस लेवल पे कोई चीज आती है, तो वो सब फॉर्म्स को मिलाकर एक ओरिएंटल स्टाइल आता है। सो ऑफ कोर्स विद एवरी स्टाइल्स आई हैव ट्राइड टू राइट some basic features or characters. You can read them, but right now I know this is too much for you to take it instantly. But मेरा यहाँ पर एक ओनली इस वेबिनार का मेन रीजन है कि आप लोगों को एक इंट्रोडक्शन मिले व्हाट आर द स्टाइल्स। आप देखो कि व्हाट स्टाइल यू फील दैट योर टेस्ट बिलोंग्स टू, and then if you can find some basic elements and bring those elements and then have a good eye to select those elements means maybe decor items, maybe furniture pieces or something, और अब वो सब उस सेम स्टाइल के लाकर अगर किसी स्पेस में लगाते हो, तो क्या आप वो सेम वाइब क्रिएट कर पाते हो स्पेस से या नहीं। this is what the main intention from our side to introduce you with all the styles today is. ओके, आगे बढ़ते हैं। सो नाउ आई एम मूविंग टू लिटिल मोर मॉडर्न स्टाइल्स विच मे come from, of course, some historical eras, but this is a very modern attempt to an industrial style. अब इंडस्ट्रियल स्टाइल अगर आप देखोगे नाम से ही यू कैन नो दैट इंडस्ट्रियल स्टाइल सिंपली मीन्स कि वो किसी इंडस्ट्री के लुक एंड फील लिया। इंडस्ट्री मतलब फैक्ट्रीज। जब इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन आई थी तब एकदम से हर चीज ना रॉ होने लगी थी। मतलब अगर आप किसी भी आज भी फैक्ट्री में जाओगे, इंडस्ट्री में जाओगे, तो वहां पर आप बहुत ही शाइनी फिनिशेस नहीं देखोगे। यू विल नॉट सी दैट दे हैव इवन completed the surfaces as in the material। रॉ छोड़ रखा है, फ्लोर पे कंक्रीट बिछाकर छोड़ दिया कंक्रीट, वॉल्स पे ब्रिक वॉल बनाकर छोड़ दिया, ऊपर उन्होंने फॉल सीलिंग में जो भी आपके पाइप्स जा रहे हैं, डक्टिंग के जा रहे हैं, लाइट के वायर्स जा रहे हैं, सब आपके एक्सपोज दिखते हैं। सो दिस इज व्हाट दिस स्टाइल इज। एंड ये आजकल बहुत ज्यादा ट्रेंड में है इंडस्ट्रियल स्टाइल। पीपल want to experiment with the style of living। So हो सकता है few of you would say that no, 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 I believe in classical style because I'm a very classical person, my taste is that। But maybe somebody may feel that you belong to industrial style because that is what you are, or that is what your liking is, you like the spaces to be little edgy, to be little rough, but not very rustic, not very simple. You want to add lot of black metals, you want to add statement furniture pieces with nice silhouettes which are not too motive based, but yet they are very popping in colors। यू वांट नाइस हैंगिंग लाइट्स बिकॉज आपकी सीलिंग एक्सपोज्ड है तो ऊपर तक सीलिंग जा रही है, फॉल सीलिंग नहीं है इधर। आपको फ्लोर चाहिए सीमलेस कंक्रीट का फ्लोर आपको दिखे। तो ये भी टेस्ट इज अ वेरी popular style and taste, and frankly lot of our clients are wanting to have this kind of spaces nowadays। So you can see it has got neutral color palette, sharp shapes and silhouettes, metal fixtures, exposed pipes, ducts, brickwork, wooden metal materials, dark gray flooring and vintage pieces। vintage मतलब ओल्ड पीसेस हम लेकर आ रहे हैं जिससे कि उसकी जो ओल्डनेस है, जो उसको यूज इस्तेमाल किए हुए पीसेस होते हैं, उसका जो एक विंटेज लुक होता है, कभी कभी वो ही सबसे क्लासिक लगता है किसी भी डेकोर में। So now this brings me to my last style for the day। So as you can see this style, this is a minimalist style. And this is what today's trend is moving into, from the opulence to the maximalist to the minimalist style। So when I say minimalist style, so how many of you think that you belong to this category? Can we have that interaction again in the chat box? रिजवाना, यस, पॉइंट टेकन कि इंडस्ट्रियल स्टाइल में पैसा बचता है पीओपी और पेंट कराने का। बट ऑफ कोर्स रिजवाना, टू रीच टू दैट लेवल ऑफ वर्क, अगर आपको उतना अच्छा ब्रिक वर्क चाहिए तो आपको बहुत अच्छा ब्रिक वर्क के एक्सपर्टीज से करवाना पड़ेगा। वरना फिर बहुत टूटा हुआ ब्रिक वर्क में आपको वो इंडस्ट्रियल लुक भी नहीं आएगा, आपको फिर वो एकदम ही रूरल आ जाएगा लुक। Okay, guys. So I think nobody belongs to minimalist style here. Sounds cool. Not sure about the functionality. Okay, right. So minimalist style simply means that whatever is required, आपकी जो एक बेसिक फंक्शनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, आप सिर्फ वो अपने घर में रखें। मिनिमलिस्ट स्टाइल मींस क्लीन लाइंस। हमें हर थोड़ी देर बाद कोई इंटरप्शन नहीं चाहिए अपने स्टाइल में। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर वॉल है तो आपकी वॉल के ऊपर ही एक आपने ऐसा मटेरियल लगाया जिसमें अपना सेल्फ टेक्सचर है, हम इसके ऊपर जबरदस्ती या पेंटिंग्स या आर्टिफैक्ट्स नहीं लगाएं, बिकॉज दे विल ओनली एड टू विजुअल केओस। हम अगर रग बिछा रहे हैं तो वो इतना मिनिमम हो, प्लेन कलर्स हो, और हर चीज जितनी जरूरत है, जितनी हमें फंक्शनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स है, वी ओनली कीप दैट। minimalist is actually a way of a lifestyle that now people are adopting in their spaces as well। So as you can read, it's the features are simplicity, the feature is to use neutral colors, very basic neutral colors, beige, whites, that's it। ज्योमेट्रिकल शेप्स में रखो आप, ऑर्गेनिक शेप्स में। ऑर्गेनिक शेप्स होती हैं जो शेप्स नेचर से, या फिर जिन शेप्स को हम कोई नाम नहीं दे सकते हैं, तो उनको हम ऑर्गेनिक शेप्स बोलते हैं। या तो नेचर से इंस्पायर्ड हो, या जो एक अलग उल्टा सीधा कर्व हो, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट भी नहीं हो बट ऑर्गेनिक हो, मोस्टली नेचर ओरिएंटेड, लेट्स से। देन क्लटर नहीं हो, स्पेसेस फ्री हो। अगर आप यहाँ पे फ्लोर देखोगे तो वो भी एकदम सीमलेस फ्लोर है, आपको जॉइंट्स नहीं दिखे, ना तो वॉल पे ना फ्लोर पे। हाँ, काफी स्लीक हो, मॉडर्न, येट फिनिशेस काफी रिफाइंड हो सकती हैं, और फर्नीचर सिर्फ फंक्शनैलिटी के अकॉर्डिंग हो। सो फ्लोरिंग का आइडिया दिया, लार्ज फॉर्मेट स्टोन्स में हो, या सीमलेस लुक हो, आप रेजिन की फ्लोरिंग कर सकते हैं, आप इसके ऊपर प्लेन कलर की पीवीसी फ्लोर्स कर सकते हैं। बट आप यहाँ पे टाइल्स लगाओगे तो टाइल्स के जॉइंट्स बहुत एजी लगेगा, मतलब बहुत क्लटर लगेगा, तो हम वो अवॉइड करेंगे। वॉल के अंदर आप एक वॉल को एक्सेंट वॉल बना सकते हैं, जैसे यहाँ पर बना रखा है, बाकी वॉल्स आप प्लेन वाइट भी रख सकते हो। And let lot of natural light come in and sink in your space. So this is what minimalist style is. Of course, each style is to your own. You have to identify what styles you belong to, right? Okay. So अभी हमने अपने इन लास्ट फ्यू स्लाइड्स देखा around 7 to 8 different styles. Because of the shortage of time, I could not incorporate, of course, many more styles which I wanted to talk. But even to know about all the styles, even to know about how do you become a stylist or a designer, one needs to go through a proper formal education to actually even start using these elements into your day to day life, and of course take it professionally and have better utilization of this knowledge as an interior designers or interior stylist. Now, before I wind up today's webinar's presentation and go to the Q&A session, I would like to wrap up by stating that these are actually the areas जहाँ पर आप बहुत ही quickly अपने elements को add करके या कुछ elements को हटा के आप अपने personal spaces को restyle कर सकते हैं। Like for example, आप अपनी wall treatments में color combination change करके, कुछ वॉलपेपर्स ऐड करके, कुछ टेक्सचर्स ऐड करके, कुछ पैनलिंग करवा के, बेसिक पैनलिंग करवा के, जैसे कि आपने फर्स्ट क्लासिकल पैनलिंग देखी थी, सिर्फ आपको वो क्लासिकल पैनलिंग करवा के आप अपने स्पेस को उस लुक एंड फील में ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकते हैं। सिमिलरली इफ यू हैव डोर्स एंड विंडोज, आप उसकी जो ट्रीटमेंट होती है, मतलब उसके ऊपर जो आपका डोर एंड विंडो का स्टाइल है, या तो आप मटेरियल चेंज कर लो। अगर आपका विंडो में बहुत छोटे छोटे से सैशेस हैं, ग्लास के बहुत सारा डिवीजन है विंडो का, आप उसको एक क्लियर ग्लास विंडो कर सकते हो। या फिर आप उस विंडो के ऊपर कोई स्टिकर्स लगा के या कोई और ट्रीटमेंट करके आप उसके ऊपर चिक्स लगा सकते हो, वुडन चिक्स, आप उसके ऊपर रोमन ब्लाइंड्स लगा सकते हैं। तो आप उसके स्टाइल को चेंज कर सकते हो, मटेरियल को चेंज करके भी आप अपनी लुक चेंज कर सकते हैं। You can also look at doing little tweaking into your furniture, maybe just changing the furniture entirely and get the furniture that belong to a style, और आप उसकी upholstery, मतलब कि आपके फर्नीचर के ऊपर जो कपड़ा चढ़ा है या जो फिनिशेस हैं, अपहोल्स्ट्री एंड फिनिशेस होना चाहिए ये, आप उनको चेंज करके भी अपने स्टाइल को, अपनी एग्जिस्टिंग स्पेस को क्विकली चेंज कर सकते हैं। ऑफ कोर्स आप अपने कर्टन्स के साथ में बहुत प्ले कर सकते हैं। इफ यू वांट टू गो फॉर हेवी कर्टन्स, you can add some swags, you can add some valances hanging from the sides, you can add some accessories, some tie back accessories, add a heavy top treatment as pelmets and valances, and make your curtain ट्रांसफॉर्म इनटू अ वेरी रॉयल लुक एंड फील। और वही करने से आपको पूरा रूम का स्पेस ही अलग फील होने लगेगा। एंड फाइनली जस्ट बाय एडिंग करेक्ट एक्सेसरीज, जैसे आपके आर्ट पीसेस हो गए, कुशंस हो गए, रनर्स हो गए, या फिर अगर आपने बहुत सारे क्राफ्ट अलग अलग कंट्रीज से खरीदे हुए ड्यूरिंग योर ट्रैवल्स या अलग जगह, सो यू कैन add all those, you can add some rugs and actually transform your spaces from basic interiors to very stylized interiors. So this is what my presentation is all about. I hope I was able to introduce you with something new than what you knew already. I hope you can take this and use this in your personal spaces or learn it further from. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Namita ma'am, for this valuable insight on the styling, interior styling. So we had few questions. So can we just go through them?
Yeah, yeah, sure now. Sure.
Okay.
Take the
So
question.
there's a question from Ankit. He was asking like, can classical style work in smaller spaces, or is it better suited for large rooms? So that's a question.
Yeah. So Ankit, you said, okay. So
Yes.
hi Ankit. Now, classical style is actually a very opulent style as it is. It comes from the ages when we used to have these styles on big palaces and also in the temples. But if you look at today's relevance, you don't have to overdo any style. When we have to introduce a style into a space, हमें ये देखना है कि हमें वो स्टाइल को कितना यूज करना है rather than having panelings all over our walls, not have that on all four walls but just have it on one highlighted wall. आप अपनी एक वॉल पे फोकस रखो, वहां पर add your panels of classical styles, have a basic molding running around your ceiling, have some layering, add some relevant accessories and you're good to go. तो इवन आप अगर कोई स्टाइल अडेप्ट करते हैं, आप उसके बेसिक फीचर्स, बेसिक कलर पैलेट्स को लें, बट डोंट ओवरडू दैट स्टाइल. सो इवन इन स्मॉलर एरियाज वी have able to actually transform very small spaces such as, let's say, your small rooms at terraces which are just your play rooms or your billiards rooms into classical styles, because this is what people are liking these days. And those rooms are not very big but intelligently आप उन features को use करके कर सकते हैं. I hope that helps in answering your question.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, I also had one question, ma'am. So I wanted to ask you, like, how can we mix vintage or second-hand, Art Nouveau pieces with modern, eco-friendly materials, if we want to go in the terms of sustainability? So that's a question.
Okay. So of course, sustainability without any, emphasis on nowadays, whatever designing we designers are doing, we're making sure that we have a lot of recycling of the material of the owner's own pieces back into the space, because that is what is the need of the art. So of course, if you have some very nice Art Nouveau or Art Deco pieces, so you have to now make sure that you bring them back. In fact, don't even refinish those surfaces. Wabi Sabi is a very popular style which I have not introduced in this presentation, which actually talks about the beautifulness of the vintage pieces. आपके एक पुराने लकड़ी के अंदर जब वो थोड़ा सा उस पे खराब हो जाता है, वो तो वो जो ट्रेंड है आजकल, वो ट्रेंड
Ma'am, your voice is cracking.
फील.
Yeah, your voice is cracking, ma'am.
ओ,
Yeah.
I, yes, my internet is showing unstable right now.
Yeah.
Is it
It
better
is.
now?
Yeah, it's better now.
सो आई वाज सेइंग कि आप उन पीसेस को, जो पुराने पीसेस हैं, विदाउट इवन रीडूइंग द सरफेस फिनिश, इफ यू वांट टू ब्रिंग देम बैक, आपको लेकर आए एंड दैट विल फिट इनटू योर वाबी साबी स्टाइल व्हिच सेज दैट ब्रिंग एवरीथिंग अनफिनिश्ड एंड हैव इट इन अ स्पेस. तो वो अपने आप में, दैट इज आल्सो वन ऑफ द स्टाइल्स एक्चुअली.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. So I guess there are no other questions. If anybody wants to ask a question, they can.
I think, Bhumika, I would like to wrap this session up by
Yeah.
saying, first of all, thank you for all you patient listeners who have been patiently listening to this entire hour, also participating. And I really hope that you all, use this information in any way possible into your life, or maybe if you want to take this as a profession, please feel free to come, have a counseling session with us, and then learn more about it. Guys, just a small notice that we are opening a short-term program in interior styling at our campus, which is in Delhi. So you can come here. You can actually, yes. This session you will get certification, but this is just a 1 hour webinar certification. So that short-term program will be here on campus once a week for 3 months. So even if you are full-time working professionals, you can come and join this course and you will be able to actually start practicing interior styling as professionally after that course. Once you go through that short-term course, we will be teaching you softwares, we will be teaching you style boards, we will be teaching you how to identify correct pieces and then collaborate and collate to bring them together into space. You will be doing a lot of hands-on exercises as well into it. So it would be great if anybody would want to come to the campus and want to know more details about the course. I'll be happy to help you out as well as my counseling team here will be able to guide you for that. And yes, Rizwana, you will get certificate for this session, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you so much, ma'am. I guess,
Thank
yeah.
you. So I think this is the right time. We can wind up the session. Thank
Yeah.
you all for listening. Bye. Have a great day, guys.
Bye, ma'am.